Good morning, good-looking people, and you're good-looking because you're always looking, and of course, you are finding the good in everything and in everybody. Hope you're well. Hope you're having a great day. It is the 6th of Adar. It's a month of joy and happiness and good energy. So reach down, grab onto it. It's going to be a great day and a great month. Today we're doing the Hayom for the 6th of Adar Sheni. And it's a very interesting Hayom. It's actually quite long. So what I would like to do is give you the information up front, and then we'll read it together. And I'll have some notes as well as we go through it. But essentially what's in the Hayom today is talking about the Alter Rebbe and the compilation of the Tanya. Now, the Tanya originally didn't look like it was supposed to even be published. It was put together by the Alter Rebbe, and what it was a way to speak to the Hasidim based on all the different questions back and forth that people had. Eventually, as the Alter Rebbe didn't have as much time to address every single Chassid for every single question, he began to put together the Tanya. And it says it took him about 20 years to really put the words together and was very specific on each word, what went in. And if somebody really reads the Tanya properly, as we discussed in the past, every single answer that a person may have with regards to themselves and their spirituality is in the Tanya. So if somebody's looking for an answer and they don't know where to go, it's actually in the Tanya. And it's good to also have a mashpia or a rav, or somebody that really can learn the Tanya with you, that you can actually find the answers in the Tanya. Now, the Tanya, what it's going to be talked about today, is what went through that process and printing it and all the different errors until eventually how the Alter Rebbe came to a system of how he wanted to print it to avoid forgeries and people making mistakes and people making intentional mistakes to try to discredit the Tanya. And the connection to the day, and I'm going to share it with you up front, is the 6th of Adar was actually the day that Moshe Rabbeinu wrote the 13 Sifrei Torah, because we know that Moshe Rabbeinu's Yortzeit and his birthday is actually tomorrow, the 7th of Adar. Now, what's important about that experience is, it says, and I think it's in the Gemara, and Gittin, Rabbi Yanai says that there were 13 Sifrei Torah written, 12, one for each tribe, and one was put inside the Aron Kodesh. And the reason was, if God forbid, they ever needed a reference point on where to come back to for the clean and the original Sefer Torah, that there should be no errors, it was the Torah that Moshe Rabbeinu wrote that was put into the actual Aron. And what's also very interesting, it talks about in Gittin that when the Jews came into the desert, there were Jews that were writing down the chronological events of what took place. They were kind of writing their own Sefer Torah based on what was happening. And again, kind of referencing what was going on in today's Tanya about all the different corrections. Also, it says there was one opinion that when people were writing their own events and writing their own kind of Torah of what was going on, there were also lots of errors and omissions and things that may not have been 100% correct. So it's talking about today, which was the 6th of Adar, Moshe Rabbeinu writing those Sifrei Torah. So we had one version, and that there shouldn't be any loss in translation or any errors. The same thing with coming back to the Tanya, that the Alter Rebbe and the notes of today of what went into that Tanya to make sure that we had one copy that had no errors, no forgeries, no intentional mistakes. So we had that Tanya to reference. That's a lot of information. Let's read the Hayom inside. I'm going to read it with you quickly, and I'll give you some notes as we go along as well. So first of all, there's more information on the front where it says instructions. It says the Haftorah for Vati Shalom Kol Hamlacha. In the Haftorah Brachas, we also say Neman V'Rachman Ata and Toshia Usasamach. So it's giving the first part of the Hayom reference points to the Haftorah of that Shabbos, which was Parshas Pekudei. And one of the reasons why it's bringing out the words Toshia Usasamach is because it was the first week of the second month of Adar. And Adar is all about being Sameach, which is happy. So the emphasis on Toshia Usasamach, which is all about happiness. All right, let's read the Hayom inside. It says it is a tradition among the elders of Anash that the Tanya is a compilation of words of counsel given by the Alter Rebbe to the Nash at Yechidus during the years of 1780 through 1790. In the summer of 1792, he began arranging the Tanya in form as it now is. A year later, there was already numerous copies, and in time there were corruptions of the text and even falsifications. For that reason, the Rebbe then moved quickly to have it printed. Another version, for 20 years, the Rebbe wrote his work, the Tanya, painstakingly examining every single last word. By the year 1795, the text was pure and clarified, and he granted permission to copy it. When copies became numerous and corrupted, he had it printed himself. The Tzemach Tzedek related that on the first of Rosh Hashanah of his life, in the year 1789, the Alter Rebbe spoke on the statement in the Talmud, he has administered an oath to be a tzaddik, and this discourse is in fact the first 3 chapters of the Tanya. So again, today is more of an informative Hayom Yom, but it does have a very important point, that sometimes we may be lost. Sometimes we're looking for direction, and we feel that the Rebbe is not here, or we don't know where to get the answers. And what's being shared today is that the Tanya was written with so much brilliance. It was written on 20 years of counsel of all the different issues that the Hasidim had at their time. Granted, it was a couple hundred years ago, but the issues have not changed. We all have different things that concern us. And that's why it's also very important to have a rabbi of a community that you can talk to, or a mashpia, or somebody, a mentor, or somebody that you can get close with to study Tanya together. Because if you really look inside, of course, every chapter is different, and somebody might be have a concern or a struggle in a certain area. It's important that somebody that you can talk to can help you find that issue in the Tanya and try to get the counsel that you need, and then of course to work on ourselves to get better and improve on ourselves. Have a great day. Have a great month of Adar. A lot of happiness, a lot of joy, as it says here in the Hayom Yom about the Haftarah, Tisamach, that we need to be joyful. Have a great day. We'll talk more tomorrow.